Welcome to the Tweed Valley guided ride series, where we're going to be taking an inside look at the trails to help prepare you for what's out here, so you can come and make a trip here yourselves.
Unbelievable. That's so good.
Alright, flat out and flat white. I'll sneak you off this line. Strava hunters will be after me.
So for this mini series, we're joined by Tweed Valley local Gordy.
I'm aiming for a dry pants day today.
And he's going to be taking over the reins for this one. So without further ado, over to you, Gordy.
Okay, so if you're coming to the upper hill at Golfie, so if you're going above the fire roads up past the reservoir, when you get to the reservoir you basically have a choice of left or right. It's pretty much how it is. You can see behind me is the main climb up the hill to where we were just before, the wolves, and where things like New York and stuff is. And if you turn right at the reservoir, it kind of takes you to the other side of the Golfie, to trails that drop down towards Walker Burn. Just up ahead here, kind of bit of a junction, and on the left hand side there is Big Ball, which for me is kind of one of the classics of the Golfie. If you come here for the first time, definitely a trail to treat with a bit of respect. It's quite a rocky trail compared to a lot of the other ones around here, but it's also quite a fast trail, so there's a lot of opportunities to get things wrong basically. But this nice top section, it's open, it's flowing, got a couple of good old berms to take you down into the tree line. It's probably kind of a bit mellower in the top section, kind of leads you into the trail, gives you an idea of what to expect further down. But as I said before, it's definitely not the kind of trail that, certainly if it's your first time down it, you want to be going anywhere near race pace. There's a lot of stuff in here to catch you out if you don't know it's coming. And as we get further down, you'll see there's a lot of rocky sections as well that, especially in the wet, can be fair old slippy slidey stuff. So we're just going to kind of keep the flow going just now, and then stop and look at a couple of features a little bit further down. Okay, so I guess this kind of section here really characterises a lot of what Big Ball is like in terms of the trail and the features you're going to find on it. You've got a bit of a rocky chute there coming down through these roots that, again, today in the dry are absolutely joy, but in the wet can be fairly slidey. There's a lot of off-camber stuff going on in here. And as we continue down the trail, you can see as we go that you know what you're going to get, and there's a lot of little rooty drops that if you're coming down here at speed, you're just pumping your way through. But if you're kind of taking it easy, they can get a little bit hung up on some of this stuff, especially if you're running the smaller wheel sizes. So it's yeah, it's kind of pretty stuttery if you're taking it slow, but yeah, it's absolutely pretty wild if you're taking it fast. And as I say, in the wet or in greasy conditions, this trail really does change character, especially these kind of rocky sections that got bits of thin layers of mud kind of hanging around in and amongst the rocks themselves. So you can really get a sense of the kind of trail the Big Ball is. It's not just rude, it's not just mud. So yeah, I'll just point out this is a trail called Aussie Rules that we're just crossing here before we carry on again. Yeah, it's a real built trail, a real labour of love by the builder. You can see the amount of work that's going into some of these kind of berms, the amount of rock that's been kind of used to build things up. But yeah, as I say, great trail in the dry, scary trail in the wet. So yeah, this trail again has been used in the EWS last year. And a real good challenging trail for top riders to kind of get themselves down. Real good challenging trail for anybody to get themselves down. It kind of opens out a little bit more as you get down towards the bottom of the trail. Doesn't mean you can take your eye off the ball though. Okay, so here we are on top of Golfie's other hill. So this is kind of the other side of the Golfie, I guess, in some respects. This is Kearney Law, up above the reservoir. And you can see over there behind me is Priesthope Hill, where Kind of a lot of the trails that start up there, like Repeat Offender, 3G, New York, the Wolves. Kearney Law is, I guess, kind of sort of where one or two of the access trails for some of the newer trails that have been built at the Golfie in the last couple of years, whilst people were busy during lockdown, building new trails in amongst the area. And that's where we're about to go down just now, is one of the newer trails. It's called Predrinks. It was used last year in the EWS race, and it's kind of quickly became a kind of firm favourite amongst locals and visitors alike. It's a short, punchy trail, quite technical in places, but definitely one where you will find out whether you can keep your flow going or not. This kind of upper section, much like many of the trails that start higher up the hill, it's got a fairly open, kind of fast, rocky introduction before you hit the tree line, and generally the kind of trails always change character when you hit the tree line. So straight away you can see we're into kind of steeper, techier terrain. Some routes in there that on a dry day like today, fantastic, but in the wet can be proper snipers waiting to catch you out. So as we're going down here, you'll kind of see the angle's not overly steep, so you really are off the brakes a lot of the time, trying to keep the bike moving, trying to keep the flow going through some of these tighter, twistier areas, and on the pedals wherever you can be. You can still smell some of the pine trees in amongst here that came down in the storm that have been kind of chopped out the way to make the trail open again. As we head along here, short, sharp climb. Imagine in race mode, this is you giving your all to get up and in here into this next section of the trail. And it really is kind of amazing to see how dry this trail is today. I think during the race people were absolutely searching for grip wherever they could find it, but it's here in bags today. But yeah, as I said earlier on, it's kind of one of the newer trails in the area, built during the last couple of years. Young lad locally, done a brilliant job building this little thing. I think we're definitely going to see more trails from him in the future. Little techie section through here, keep your speed. And as you kind of come down here, you can see yourself dropping down into the fire road. Down in here, fantastic. So yeah, if you like what you're seeing and you're thinking about coming up to this area for the first time and you're looking for some guiding, definitely get in touch through the website, because we really are only scratching the surface of what's available, and all the trails we're looking at today, wildly different in character, so it's always good to have somebody to show you around first time here, to try and tailor the riding for the kind of stuff that you like doing or that you and your mates like doing. Over behind me there you can see Innerleithen, and beyond that is the other side of town where Adrenaline Uplift run their operation. There's another load of trails over there as well, so we've only been looking at the trails in Golfie today. So yeah, this really is kind of a real kind of rider's mecca, Tweed Valley, so much going on. So most of the time, most of the people here at the Golfie will use the main kind of, sort of forest road to get back up to do laps of different trails. There is a different way up, which is what we're on just now, but it's much steeper, much sharper, and I'll be honest, without the e-bike it's not a lot of fun. But what it does is it takes you to this trail here, which you're about to drop into, which is called Greg Jolliffe's. Great little trail, kind of real fast when you get to know it, and kind of pretty good condition at the moment as well. Had a lot of work done on it after EWS last year, so running really well, and takes you back out onto the main climb. And straight away you're faced with a bit of a horizon line that is entirely rollable, so just give you a look over, you can drop into that fairly easily. It's one of those ones where we probably don't want to get too much air because it drops away real quick afterwards. Steep and techie section, bit of roots going on here. And there's loads of opportunities to kind of pick and choose different lines. The more you ride this kind of trail, the more you see things opening up in front of you. Different ways, different routes into stuff, different ways through things. It's lines like this that when you're first riding trails you perhaps don't see. The majority of the time most people will be kind of riding down the right hand side here, jamming on the brakes a bit and getting up and round the corner. But when you start to look closer you can absolutely see there's been a lot of riders on our left hand side here, kind of over these routes, And what's happening there, by getting a higher line and straightening yourself up, you're carrying more speed into the corner, into the next section. If we kind of jack straight into it and out. So that's the line, that's the one. You can see as you come around this corner, if you look down towards where the bike is, that's the line, that's the one you want. I think the trail itself though, a lot of the time, especially if you're new to riding it, it wants to take you right. So as you can see down here on the right hand side, there's a good bit of smooth trail that a lot of people will seek out rather than seeing this high line. We are going to go down right and just have a look at it, but as you can see here over these two big old routes, there's a line through, good landing and into the next corner. You got to be prepared to pull up though. There's every chance you're going to come in here too slow, and if you do, that second route's going to take you down. It's so steep and off camber that if you hit that with the back wheel, especially in the wet, you're just going to slide straight on out. So yeah, do prepare for a last minute pull up. So that's the line, that's the one. Down in the lower section of this trail, Greg Jolliffe's. And it is kind of steep and tech in places still, but it really starts to open out. The flow really starts to kind of build down these last few sections. You can see a lot more, it's a lot more open than it would be higher up. Some great lines down here before popping you back out onto the road as you go. This is kind of taking us back onto the main climb from almost down the bottom, heading back up the hill. Okay, so this is us exiting the Wolves Trails. So all the different Wolves Trails kind of come together down this kind of long bottom section that's kind of beside the stream here. And on a day like today, when it's nice and dry again, flowing really fast, really nice. What you can see on the ground there's the odd bit of rootage. Now and again, on a wet day, can really kind of catch you out. So the Wolves have been used traditionally for a lot of different races over the year. And now that this whole place is kind of opened up, and actually probably be a really good bit to come and watch any races, because it's quite easy to get to on your bike. You can use the forest roads to get to the bottom here. And as you can see, it's kind of fast, techy, flowy section. It's got it all down this final bit. So yeah, it could be fairly exciting watching. A couple of corners now and again, if you're absolutely flying, really can catch you out. Quite a bit steeper than you think they're going to be.
Nice one, Gordy, you were shredding, son. Well, some of the trails have been around for donkey's years and really well established runs, and others are cropping up sort of left, right and centre that have been built sort of over the winter almost. So in the next video, Gordy's going to be diving in and looking at the old school versus the new school and what's on offer, and just to see whether you guys want to take these on for yourselves. Old school versus new school. See you over there.